Hello and welcome to Netflix and Cringe, where we watch bad Netflix original movies so you don't have to. My name is Joe and this is John. And John and I have each picked something awful to inflict upon each other. And we're going to have a chat about them now. So my pick this week was Six Underground, the Michael Bay film with Ryan Reynolds and various other people. How did you find this one, Johnny?
I'll be honest, that year I was a little mad when I realised it was a Michael Bay film. You tricked me into watching one.
I tricked me into watching it. I didn't realise it was Michael Bay. Like, I wrote down in my notes, this looks like a cheap Michael Bay knockoff. And then the very first thing at the end of the credits was directed by Michael Bay. I was like, oh, for God's sake. It actually
the very first thought I had when the film started and it looked like a toy advert. So, I was like, this looks like a Michael Bay movie. And then I literally had to pause it and look it up. And of course it was.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because like there are directors like Michael Mann. I can see a film of his, and in a positive way, I go, "Oh, this is a Michael Mann film." Like,
with Michael exactly Bay, like Michael Mann, yeah, absolutely. But Michael Bay, it's like, yeah, I guess it's the reason why only he makes films that look like this. It was just, it's embarrassing.
So the opening scene is like just the most, like just the biggest, most ridiculous, like Michael Bay thing ever.
I've got so many thoughts about just that opening scene.
I've got notes, and I think I've got about 2 pages just on that opening scene. For a start, like Michael Bay has done so many Transformers films, he's forgot what's inside humans. There's a point where 2 people on mopeds get shot, and sparks come out of them.
What? I missed that. Wow.
And then there's a shot of a guy sliding down the road into the jaws of like a JCB digger.
Sure. Yeah.
And sparks come out of him when he hits it. Like that's not how humans work, Michael.
It's just reusing the CGI from Transformers. Is that how cheap this movie is?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
It's just it totally sets the tone at the very start when the car chase really starts, and the driver takes like this really sharp left-hand turn, and that causes the 2 cars behind him to leap into the air, flip over, and for fireworks to come out of them. Was just...
It just looks so cheap as well. That's the thing that I kept noticing. Yeah. Like, they kept on cutting, like constantly cutting from one angle to the other, so that there was no actual stunt work going on. It was all just like a face very quickly and then going back to like a car driving, so that you never actually saw any of the stuff. And then loads of the cars are CGI as well, that really bad CGI. Like whenever the car came in the middle of the road, it was like an obvious like toy truck or something. So.
Well, the bit that got with you're talking about the edits chopping back and forth. There's the bit which it would have been quite funny where there was a woman holding a baby. Yeah, and they're going around like the roundabout, sort of around the statue. Yeah. And it's almost like the scene in Naked Gun, where they're taking off the Untouchables, and the pram starts going down, and then there's like another thing comes out, and then there's like a nun, and like it was just like it would have been really funny because like there's the little puppies like running along and stuff. Yeah. But what got me was Ryan Reynolds has got his head out the window, and then it cuts to a shot of the car with all the windows shut and no one with the head out. Then back to him with his head out the window, and then it was really like that joke would have landed with me.
Yeah,
there's this weird choppy edit thing that just made me think about that instead.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's like, and just so much slow-mo as well, just all the way through the film. Like, I felt like it was like a 1 hour film, but like slowed down by half.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it was like 2 hours, 10 minutes, and it totally would have been under an hour and a half if it wasn't for all that.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it just starts with terrible voiceover as well. And like, the dialogue all sounds like it comes from separate films. Like none of the dialogue was like teed up by previous things that any of the characters are saying.
That was the thing with the Leave It to Beaver thing they kept referencing throughout. Because it was kind of like, he'd just say it occasionally and they're like, oh, okay, that's that character's thing. And then he said it like 2 more times, completely like unrelated to other things. And the other characters were kind of going, oh, right, I've never seen that film, that show.
Yeah.
But the thing is, so was like everybody in the audience. And so it was just...
I didn't know what was going on. Yeah, it definitely had that thing from like 90s Michael Bay films where every character is defined by one really shallow characteristic. Like, I'm the man who smokes cigars or something like that. It's like I think my favorite line in that opening scene was like where Dave Franco just says, "That's my problem. I'm just getting warmed up," or something. It's like completely out of nowhere. Like no one has said anything about warming up or getting started previous to that. He just said something like that out of nowhere. It's like, okay, cool, Dave Franco. Like that's a nice line.
Yeah, and also, right, we've been to Florence.
Yeah.
This is the weird thing, right? Because I've got a real problem with the original Mission Impossible film.
Okay.
Because you know the bit with the helicopter where it goes really low over the train and they're going towards the Channel Tunnel. I know there's overhead line in that area.
Oh yeah, of course, because
there's no way that could ever happen. And we've both been to Florence, and we've both seen those squares. And there is no way you could have a car chase around there. Like it's just, it's just weird. Like, and
or through the Uffizi either. Like the queue around that museum is it killed 100 people.
Yeah, but that was the weird thing as well, because there was like a very strange tonal thing with it, where they were sort of like killing people quite mercilessly in certain parts, and like the car chases, it almost felt like they kind of wanted it to have consequences, because there were innocent people getting killed. Yeah, but it just felt so shallow, and it just felt like another thing to add to, almost like in the Sons of Anarchy when they have all like the really brutal killings. Yeah, and they're just so unrelated to everything else that it doesn't land emotionally. You're just kind of like, oh god, that guy's head exploded.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's like the ultimate Michael Bay film in that sense, that it's just so, like, it's shallow on every single level. Like, you know, aesthetically, morally, spiritually, like, in character-wise, there's just nothing to it on any level whatsoever. And it's just like so much like rampant murder like throughout the film, and like,
then a guy doing a sweet kickflip on a skateboard.
Yeah, or a joke or something, just lolling. Yeah. It was like, oh, I've just killed 20 people, but yeah, it's time for a quip.
Yeah. Which thing is, like, this a couple of times during it, I did think like I could be watching a Statham film right now. Yeah. Because like at least in those like the humor and things, it's normally quite well placed and it's well delivered, but with Ryan Reynolds just doing Ryan Reynolds, and then you know the lesser Franco. Yeah. they didn't really have much of a like the guy who played the soldier, who was really good in Straight Outta Compton.
Sure, yeah.
But didn't really seem like he had much to do in this, apart from occasionally look moody.
No, I mean the whole cast was like really good actors, like Melanie Laurent from Inglourious Basterds and things like that.
Yeah,
like,
that was the thing wasted with her. Yeah, she just. Also, do they let French people in the CIA?
That is what I thought as well. Like, she's very clearly French. Like, her character's meant to be French, but she's clearly in the CIA. It's like, no, that's not how it works, is it? I don't know.
No, it felt like the joke in Bridesmaids with the cop who's obviously Irish, but they've made him American in the film, and he's like, just don't talk about it.
Yeah, and if they played it off for laughs, then that would have been fine. But they just didn't mention it.
No, it's really odd. But yeah, she was utterly wasted in that film. Yeah. In fact, like, because after being so good in Inglourious Basterds, I was just sitting there watching this, thinking, if this kills her career, I am going to be furious.
Yes, or she can go back to France and make proper movies, can't she? I guess. Yeah, I think it was about the right level for Ben Hardy from EastEnders, though. I think that was.
Actually, I've never watched EastEnders, so is that the parkour guy?
Yeah. Well, we guess we need to talk about the parkour. Like 20 years out of date, they seemed they were really in on the parkour, weren't they? I think there was at least 20 minutes of it during the film.
As soon as the car came around the corner and you saw the guy standing on top of the roof, you were like, "Oh, this is the parkour guy."
Yeah,
this is the parkour bit, and then the parkour bit lasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
To be fair, like out of all the different sections in the film, I think like the part where he got stranded on his own in that building, like that was probably one of the more effective sequences.
Yeah, I think that was the one part of the film where I was actually like paying attention or sort of invested in it, because it was quite a chore actually. Like some of these films, like the one you've picked, was actually quite entertaining in a sort of train wreck way, but this was just like a real slog to get through, because like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and
the last part of it was just so odd.
Yeah,
but yeah, that like and I think that might have been that it was almost like butt ended with that section, which actually was quite good.
Yeah.
Where he's being chased through the thing on his own and he's stranded, and they're talking about whether they should go back to him. Yeah, that was actually a really, really, that was worth the money on its own.
Yeah.
But,
he had a skateboard as well. Do you remember his skateboard?
Yeah. It just does like a sweet rail. Oh God, I'm so old. What's it called? A grind. He did a grind.
Yeah.
And then,
a grindy thingy, as Scott Pilgrim says.
Yeah. and then he fired the like grenade launcher into the guy's face, and it's just like, well, look at the part where they showed the Helmand province, and it's just Call of Duty. Like that's the most Michael Mann thing ever. Michael Bay thing ever. It's just like when they're trying to, whenever they try to inject any emotion into it, like in the sections where they like got the like third world countries and with the dictators, and they're trying to like show the kids in the war zones and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should have just not made this film and donated the money to a charity who's actually dealing with a war zone, because this is making the world worse, not better.
Have you seen Pain and Gain, which was meant to be Michael Bay's personal, like personal project? Like this is me. This is who I am, guys. It's like a small indie film, which was just some dudes on steroids, like pumping iron.
And I remember there was a bit. Was it The Rock like trying to fry a hand or something? Trying to destroy a body on a barbecue or something at one point?
Oh, I can't remember. Was there?
Yeah,
it sounds like a sort of thing that would be in a Michael Bay film.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Pain and Gain is a. Yeah, I'm glad we watched this instead of that.
Well, that's a compliment, isn't it? It's not literally the worst Michael Bay film.
It's the most backhanded thing I could say. I've never managed to finish a Transformers movie, and Pain and Gain like actually made me. It dropped IQ points off me.
I was so upset about Transformers, the first one, because when I was a little kid, that was exactly the right age for me to like the other toys I liked.
Yeah.
So I was quite excited to see it when it came out, and it just completely like all over the memory of my childhood, basically. Like, I don't know if you've seen Bumblebee, the one that he didn't direct.
No, I've seen adverts and things for it, but
that's actually all right. Like, it's a perfectly fine movie. Like,
right.
Yeah, but mainly I think because he's not in it. Or not involved, Michael Bay.
So it's kind of like there's like Cheers, which is the main thing, and then that's Frasier. Bumblebee's like Frasier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that a lot of people can. Yes, in terms of quality, let's say that it is. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Kelsey Grammer has been in. Has he been in a Transformers movie, or is it just X-Men?
I don't know. I don't know, because like I say, I don't think I've watched more than about 20 minutes of a Transformers movie when it's been on TV. No,
that's about the right amount. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just worry that they give me an aneurysm or something like there's like Japanese cartoons which are just absolutely insane.
They're so whirry and shiny. Like when all the robots are fighting, like that was the thing I didn't like about it most, is that you couldn't actually see any of the robots fighting. It just looked like someone had blown up a kettle or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like with a lot of like modern action stuff, like the Bond movies, where they just change from one camera to the other camera to this camera to that camera, and it actually makes you have trouble following the action.
Mm.
Whereas I'm a big fan of like old car chase movies and things like that, where they didn't have the technology, so they just got these long shots of like the car coming from all the way over there to you, and then like a shot of it leaving, and like they're done well because that was they had limited technology, so they had to work with it.
Yeah, it's the same as like all of the East Asian martial arts movies, like the Jackie Chan movies and stuff, and like more recently the Raid and things like that. It's like they're all long shots. You actually get to see all of the action, and it's just so much better because of that, basically.
Yeah, well, one of my favorite action sequences of like all time is the side-scrolling part of Old Boy.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah,
that's just incredible. Yeah, it's just amazing, and it's just one shot, like just done incredibly well. It just way more effective than anything that these people like this are doing. But yeah, I mean, right, I've got some notes here, and honestly, just like laughing gas. Like, if you were going to
Oh my God.
incapacitate a load of people,
Yeah.
like, why would you use laughing gas? It makes no sense.
Just use
Like, that
knockout
would
gas.
cause more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, because as demonstrated when the character got infected by his own gas, he didn't lay down, did he? He just started being really troublesome and getting in the
Yeah,
way.
it's just like being an absolute dick. It's
Yeah.
like, you don't want a lobby. And also, that lobby didn't have anybody with a gun in it. Like, if you were keeping that you're basically running a private prison,
Yeah.
there would be someone downstairs with a gun.
Yeah, some kind of guard or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had just a load of like bellboys. It was really, yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I hate it when I'm sitting there like picking holes in things, but like sometimes the holes just jump out of you. Don't they?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult to miss. Like there was more hole than film, I think, in this
Yeah.
one. That's the thing. It's like it was trying so hard to be cool as well, wasn't it? It was just like constantly just trying to be, you know, Armageddon or something like that, but not even working. I mean, I was quite impressed by Ryan Reynolds, like trying his best.
Yeah, he definitely did his best. He's definitely just being a normal Ryan Reynolds character, really. But like
I did think in this one, naturally, I'm kind of bored of Ryan Reynolds now. Like, he just does the same thing every time. And I did like it the first 20 times, but now I'm a bit.
Yeah, when he was Van Wilder and he was feeding people hot dogs full of dogs.
It's classic. It's a great film. It's not a good film. It's a bad film, but it's a good, enjoyable bad film.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, but yeah, this it's got that like Smoking Aces, I think was the other one where he basically did a similar thing, and he's obviously did his best. He did his best in that one, but like it was just an absolute circus of a film.
Yeah, that was at least interesting. I thought it was a train wreck, but like it was trying something, wasn't it? And it kind of missed. Whereas this was, it just seemed like a really lazy sort of, I'd say cash grab, but it's on Netflix, isn't it? So like, I don't know what cash they're trying to grab. But.
Well, the last section was the out of everything, like the last section was the weakest for me, which was supposed to be, I expected it to be like this big finale, and the weird magnet technology thing, and it.
Oh yeah, the bit on the boat. Oh my God.
Yeah. And like they sent the parkour guy into like this sabotage the anchor so they couldn't leave, but they decided to do it at the point when they were about to leave, when they've been sat there the entire time, and they could have sent him at any point.
Yeah, that's the thing I noticed. Is why did they decided to start that final mission in the middle of the desert overlooking the city. Like, they'd have to drive out there. Like, if they're going to go to the city, they'd need to start in the city. So they drove all the way out to the hills and then looked over the town and then thought, oh, now we need to walk back into town. Because they made a point of, it's going to take us a long time to get into town.
So. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, the whole thing, well, other than the sections in Florence, apparently it was all done, mostly done in Abu Dhabi or Dubai. It was supposed to be. That was one of the big things about it for some reason. They were filming it out in like the Middle East, and I think they just wanted to make the most of the scenery. They were like, "Oh, no, let's put a big like desert landscape in it," but they didn't think like why they would be out in it. They just were like,
there's no internal logic whatsoever.
No, but yeah, the bits with them, I honestly wasn't sure if I'd missed something because when he said that right, this is it, the ship's now one giant magnet, and I was like, okay. What he's going to do with that? And then he started flipping people from one side of the boat to the other, and I was like, "Is that how giant magnets work?"
Yeah, everybody was wearing Kevlar with metal plates in.
Yeah,
like even the people in cocktail dresses and things.
Yeah. But then, like, if you turn the whole thing into a magnet, everyone would go like that. But he was making people go like this.
Yeah,
and I was just like, well, if the whole thing's a magnet, metal would just go to the magnet. Has he made it has he sectioned it off? How is he making half of it a magnet and then the other half a magnet?
He just stuck some ball bearings to the motor, didn't he? And then that somehow magicked the whole boat into like a special super magnet.
Yeah, but it was weird. It made me feel dumb because I was like, I must have missed something. Like this must be something clever that I'm really missing. Either that or this is the dumbest thing in the world.
Well, they tried to overcomplicate it, didn't they? Because they kept on chopping back and forward in time.
Yeah,
constantly, particularly at the beginning. It was just like for no reason. Like there was no information or extra stuff going on that warranted.
Yeah,
flashbacks.
There were a lot of scenes that could have been on the floor, or the editing room floor, but I think it's the same thing with a lot of movies that are made for Netflix. They kind of go, oh, it doesn't have to be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
All right, this TV show doesn't have to be 45 minutes because of adverts. And you end up with this weird bloat where people just go, well, I'm going to do what I want then. And you shouldn't let Michael Bay do what he wants. That's
that's the first mistake, isn't it? That is, you know, if you're talking about mistakes, that is one of them. Oh, there were so many like Michael Bay angles as well, like when all the shots were like not just Dutch angles, but like he almost like sat the cameraman on the floor to look up at somebody's face or something.
At one point I did pause it to go out of the room and get a cup of coffee, and I came back and there was just one of those angles of an entire shot of a woman's bum.
Of course, it's a Michael Bay film. Yeah,
that's just.
Oh, it was so sleazy as well. Just, but you know, you expect that from Michael Bay, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And it was just one of these things. Was like, oh God, yeah, okay, all right, Michael, calm down.
Yeah. How old is he now? He's in his 50s. He's still.
Oh yeah, he's
still doing all that.
Problematic.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, there's just so many things about like the relationship between the two, the CIA operative and the hitman would have been like, it just didn't really have anything to it, really. It was just they had sex at one point, and then at one point she goes, yeah, all right, I'll meet your mum.
Yeah. There was no character work at all, was there, going on there? Like, it was because
it was almost just an excuse to get her in her underwear on a bed.
Literally, I think it probably was that, yeah. But yeah, it's just the characterization there was pretty thin. His character in particular, the hitman, was just I think the weakest of all of the people.
Even the intro made me cringe when he does the weird laugh. But it's kind of I don't think they really like maybe they cut that section or something. But he says like, "Where is the bathroom?" in Italian, and then just starts cackling with laughter, and it freezes on his face.
I don't understand.
And he says, "The hitman."
Oh yeah, that was a classic Michael Bayism, wasn't it? Like this guy's personality is that he learns how to say one line in every language that he's going to kill someone. It's like that's not how characters or people work, Michael Bay. That's not how this goes.
Yeah, one thing that really annoyed me is towards the end where it was actually in the rooftop hotel scene where he turns there and he says about being like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and she says they both die at the end. That is 100% stolen from another film. I can't name the film because I spent all day thinking about it, but that is stolen. That line is not his.
I did ring a bell when he said it. But I kind of lost it under the weight of all the other terrible film quotes. They just kept on labouring in there. It's like, but like without any context or any reason for it, it was just like, I see dead people, just like for no reason. That was, well, that's something that both the movies that we're going to go with talk about tonight actually have. It's just bad references to other movies where it's just like, oh, this is like that thing. Oh right, okay. Is it? Is it okay? Great.
That's not a joke in of itself. Like that is just saying it's like that.
Yeah. Although that is pretty common now in movies, isn't it? They made a whole Han Solo film just about. Do you remember when he found that thing? Do you remember that pin badge he had once? He was wearing. Well, let's give me 20 minutes about that.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like, I do like all the set pieces in the Solo movie. But yeah, I totally agree that there's so many parts where the set piece ends and then they go, oh, do you want this? And he goes, what's that? And they go, it's that thing you wear for the rest of your life.
I'm never going to change clothes ever again.
So, all right, thanks. I think this one's best left forgotten, really. Redeeming features wise, I'm not seeing a lot really in this one.
No, I mean, when we were coming up with this idea for this thing, like I kind of hoped we would be like watching like really embarrassingly terrible bad movies that were kind of like funny to watch because of just how much of a car crash they were. But this was just soul-suckingly bad. It was just like 2
Yeah.
hours of your life that have absolutely no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, it's weird to watch something that flashy and gaudy and bland at the same time.
It actually made me literally roll my eyes at certain points, particularly the voiceover right at the end of the film, where it was clearly trying to set up another sequel or something. It's just like,
well, the final line where he says, "Can we just rob a casino next time?"
yeah,
And I was just like, "Oh, they do. That is what they want. They want a new Ocean's 11 just for Netflix, and that's that. This is it." And oh my god, yeah. Please don't do a 7 Underground.
yeah. Oh, if we could erase this movie from existence, then that would be preferable. Let alone having a sequel.
Yeah. Next, they can do 5 Underground, 4 Underground, and just until there's 0 Underground, and then you can never do it again. I'll be fine with that.
Yeah, okay.
Let them count down to nothing.
And each film could be progressively shorter as well, so we don't have to suffer just quite so long. I don't know, another 2 hours, 10 minutes.
I think that's probably enough of that one.
Okay, so yeah, should we talk about the second one then? Tell us what you picked, Johnny.
So I picked. It didn't bode well that I found this on a list of Netflix films and then couldn't find it on Netflix.
Oh wow!
Even in the Netflix original section. It's called The Package.
Okay.
And it is kind of a teen comedy, or at least a comedy about a bunch of teens who go out to the woods on a camping trip, and one of the teens accidentally severs his own penis, and it's about them trying to get not only him to the hospital, but the penis. And it's mostly the penis.
Yeah, in a nice cooler.
Yes, yeah.
I actually almost enjoyed this one. Like,
yeah,
it was just like it really went for it. I think, like with the set pieces, it didn't hold back. There was no like squeamishness or prudishness about it at all. They were like, okay, we're going in full on this.
They squeezed every penny of money's worth out of that prosthetic penis. Like they used it for everything.
They had one thing and they were going to use it to their utmost.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. Like when I started watching it, I was actually really worried that it was going to be just like just horrific, just terrible. Because like I think it also worried me because like I started watching it and I didn't feel any connection to the kids at all. No. I almost felt like I was siding with the parents.
And they spent a lot of time setting them up as well, didn't they, before the plot kicked in? So it was like they spent time trying to make you care about them. So.
Yeah. So I was like, do I like if I watch Superbad, will I just now side with the cops? Is it me or is it
we're just old now? So
yeah. But for the first half hour of the movie, like it's the two girls who basically kept me in it because they were just way better at delivering everything that they were doing.
Sure.
In fact, the girl, the Indian girl, who's the sister of the main character. Yeah. She's also in Blockers, isn't she?
It's one of the films that I recommended on all my other videos. Yeah.
Which really makes me want to watch that one because she was really likable in it, and
she was really good comic timing as well. Like the lines weren't good, but she was getting everything she could out of them. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. The actual lead up to where they go out into the woods is really forgettable. It doesn't have a lot going for it. But then once they get out there, and especially the scene itself, where the guy actually manages to sever his own penis.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, from then on, it was like I really quite. It was still in that sort of like this is a really bad movie way, but there was definitely moments where I cackled with laughter at some of how just ridiculous some of it was.
Yeah, I was almost jumping out of my seat. We're just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Like I can't believe they've gone there. It was like...
the girl throwing up on the when they found it. Oh my god! It was way too far, but it landed because it was just like this is how far they need to go to make this film work.
Yeah. It was, because like I think that was the thing was like it wasn't actually that well written or funny. Like none of the jokes particularly landed, did they? But like just the set pieces or like the physical comedy of it actually kind of tied it together a little bit and made it kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, because it's strange as well because like I think if you're gonna talk about this movie, a lot of the time I would just compare it to Superbad, because that's just like the gold standard for this kind of movie for me.
Absolute classic.
And like every performance in that's great. Every character is really likable and sort of well-rounded as well, and gets defined like mega early. But then like everything that happens kind of leads into something else that happens. Whereas with this one, everything just sort of happened.
Yeah.
Like the bit in there where they get to the ranger station and there's a rattlesnake in a cupboard.
Yeah.
Which then bites the penis.
Yeah.
Which like that has to come out of the container and out of the bag for the rattlesnake to bite it. And then once he's bit it, it's an excuse for somebody to have a conversation about who's got to suck it.
Yeah.
Also, does venom work that way? Like, if you don't have a pulse, is there a danger?
Yeah, I mean, that didn't cross my mind. That wasn't the least believable part of this film. So it wasn't. It wasn't like they had me to that point. It was in
the mix.
Yeah, and I was like, no, this is too far, guys. Like suspension of disbelief. It's just like,
yeah.
There's quite a lot of that. They're like setting up all the pieces of like the puzzle. Like there were quite long, lingering shots of the flick knife that was going to cause the incident, weren't they, and things like that, and like setting up the ice coolers for the beer as well. There's a massive long shot of that and stuff.
Well, the actual part where they reveal that they haven't got the penis at the hospital was done, for me, like completely the wrong way around, because they go to the cooler and they're like, oh no, the penis is here, and then it shows the hospital where they're pulling beer out of a cooler.
Yeah, should have done the other way around. Yeah.
The other way around would have been so much funnier. It was just, I don't know if it was that the kid who plays Donnie just wasn't wasn't that funny. Just as a performer, I didn't, because a lot of the stuff that he did, I really wasn't.
He's a ginger one, right?
Yeah, the ginger one. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the weakest link of the cast, I think. Like the main lad, Sean or whatever, like he was quite bland, but he was meant to be like that was sort of his character, wasn't it? So like that was fine, but he was meant to be like the McLovin or whatever of the film, and just didn't quite carry it, I think. Yeah,
because the guy who actually cuts his own penis off. This is weird, so weird to talk about. The guy who cuts his own penis off wasn't that strong.
No,
like a lot of his scenes were with the nurse, who was really funny. Like
I remember, I recognise it from something, but yeah, she was really good.
Yeah,
wasn't she? Yeah,
she was really good, and like even like bit parts where like the 11-year-old kid with the drone, like he was amazing.
Have you seen Booksmart yet?
No. It's after seeing your short review of it, I'm totally going to watch it.
You should, because it is almost as good as Superbad. It is really of that template as well. But that kid, the guy who gets his chop off, is in Booksmart.
Right. Okay.
He's all right in that. He's quite a small character, but yeah, he's good in that. So not sure if it was just the script or the direction or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, what really did he have to do other than lie in a bed and have scenes with someone who was just nailing their lines a bit better, I think. Maybe.
Yeah. Although going back to something you said about Superbad, is like in Booksmart, there's an absolutely amazing scene where they introduce all of the secondary characters. It's set in the classroom, and they just like it can't be more than 5 minutes long, and they set up like 6 or 7 secondary characters in that one scene, just flipping back dialogue in between all the characters. It's just absolute perfection. Like, but at the end of it, you know who they are, you like them or don't like them, and it's just like the rest of the film can run from there. That was kind of what this was lacking a little bit, wasn't it? Like, just
well, that's like I say, the first part of it was just, all right, this guy's kind of a douchebag and a bit of a loser, but I don't really know anything other than that. He puts porn on his friend's TV, and he wants to grow a mustache. That's about as much as you learn about that kid. And then they talk about how he farts during blowjobs and things like that. There's just nothing to really go on.
No, they have that thing which they do in lots of bad teen comedies where they just make people absolutely repulsive, don't they?
Yeah.
But then they just get redeemed at the end for no reason.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like, I think that what was his redeeming thing? Like, he threw a can at a guy's head at one point
and hit. Is accurate with this throwing of the can? So yeah. That was
I think
enough.
that was the thing. Yeah. Other than because he even like throws his friend under the bus at the end of the.
That was like, and then it was all forgiven immediately. So.
Yeah, like immediately. Yeah, it was really. I did struggle with a lot towards the end because, like, when they get out of the woods and they get to the car, and there's the phone in the glove box, they've got the thing in the cooler, and they're like, you're like, okay, well, how does this film have 45 minutes left?
Yeah.
But then they've got the whole thing where they're going like from hospital to hospital and things like that. They had a phone. Would you not ring the hospital?
Well, I think they did explain that, though, didn't they? Because he was under a false name.
Yeah, that's the thing. They explained it really late, but they didn't like.
At the time, I was thinking like, just ring all the hospitals. That'll take you like 30 seconds each, and then find the one.
That's the thing. That if they had a scene like that with like when they got to the first hospital, and they didn't know where he was, and then I don't know, like found some reason to go to the other hospital where they attached to somebody else.
Yeah,
like that's that. Like there would have been something there, but the whole time I was thinking, why are they doing this? Like, why would any of this happen? And I was thinking, like, maybe it's because I'm English. I'm used to the NHS. Maybe in America it works completely differently. I know a lot of stuff about the healthcare system works differently. Maybe the hospitals is just like, this is a private company. We don't have anything to do with that hospital. If anything, they're taking our business. Like,
yeah, I've got no idea, but yeah, maybe, yeah. I did like. It was a pretty weak setup, but the thing they were setting up, I did quite enjoy. Like the escalation of the hillbilly couple was like, okay, like, because it didn't feel like I had anywhere to go after that, but then they did. Yeah. They raised it. They got to 11 or 12.
Yeah, the actual redneck woman. I still right now I can't tell you if I enjoyed her performance or not. It was so bad and so over the top. I was is this good? Has this gone all the way around into good, or is it just awful?
It was like a cartoon, wasn't it? She was almost like a Simpsons character, but like, or maybe South Park or something, or Rick and Morty, but more adult. But yeah, it was extreme. But yeah, I mean, we're both big fans of Crank with Statham, aren't we? I think it was reminiscent of that level of performance. I think.
I was thinking during that whole scene, it's like when he sees like the penis that's been attached to him, he does say like, look how small it is.
Yeah.
So if you were a true friend and you got offered the bigger penis to give to your friend,
you keep that one, surely. Yeah, absolutely.
You'd go, oh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice for him when he wakes up.
I thought that's what they were going.
No, he wants that one.
Yeah.
Which I suppose has got sentimental value.
Yeah, you're probably quite attached to it, aren't you? It might be really weird to wake up with something else there.
Yeah. But yeah, they even that scene, they managed to find another reason for the penis to go in someone's mouth. Which
there was a lot of that. But I did. It was terrible in a lot of ways, but I did admire their commitment to the bit.
Yeah, 100%. Like, as I said, like that prosthetic penis we just got. It should have had a billing of its own in that movie. Like
there must have been multiple. I'm sure they got through quite a few.
There must have been, because there were certain ones where it seemed more elastic than others as well. There's one point where he lands on his back. The main character lands on his back and catches it in midair, and it stretches towards his face. And so they must have had like a rack. They must have had a selection of them.
Just a whole briefcase full. Just like we're using the 12A today.
Yeah. Although the one scene which just left me completely bemused was the roadside like truck stop guy.
Yeah.
He takes the penis and then he like lovingly restores it.
And buffs it up. Yeah, he's got a full kit.
And then finds out that he's not a serviceman, chases them out, fires arrows at them, and then shouts, the only penis I touch is my husband's. It was just the most, like, I just can't even compute that scene. They threw so much at the wall in that 30 seconds.
Yeah, I enjoyed that scene just because it was so completely out of nowhere. It was just like there was no reason for that to happen. That's just why would there be a man in a really dingy roadside garage with a specialist penis cleaning kit? Like, what would the necessity be? Does that happen a lot? People are filling up their car with gas. That was very strange.
Yeah, it does make me think they if they'd have ramped up the silliness a bit, it could have been a much better film. because like the really daft stuff was where it worked, and then they kind of had a lot of stuff where, well, like the bit where they decide like, oh yeah, we're going to take this all the way to the hospital, and they're doing like circling the camera around them all, and they're like, it's not played for laughs really in that section.
No, it's like, yeah, they kind of didn't quite find the line, did they, between just absolutely insanity and like trying to play it properly?
Yeah,
because they had all that. They had the relationship bits and things, and then trying to ground it in slightly in some kind of sense of normality just for that part, I guess.
But like you mentioned Crank earlier, the reason that works is because from the first moment to the last moment, they just keep it at that tempo, and if anything, they ramp it up more and more throughout the film until the end, and then you're left going that was insane.
Yeah, they start at 11 and they keep going up, and you kind of have to do that, don't you? If that's the kind of film you're going for, then it needs to be in that fashion.
This is the weird thing. I think both the films have it in common, where the last scene was just sort of awful banter that kind of went on too long as you're panning away from them. Like that last scene in this movie where it's sort of like panning up into the sky, and it's obviously overdubbed. It's not, they didn't record anything live there. It's obviously all like in a studio.
Yeah.
And it's just the worst. Like nothing in it lands at all.
No. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is like none of the actual jokes land. Like any of the written lines sort of are any good, apart from the bits that the Geraldine Vishwanathan manages to inch something out of. Everything else is just like sort of dead, isn't it? Just like, just comes out flat. But yeah, they kind of like just go absolutely extreme with the physical stuff, and it sort of occasionally makes you want to cover your eyes. Yeah, but this was fun. Like I did enjoy my 90 minutes of watching this film and thinking, this is terrible, but it is making me react in a certain way. It's not making me want to punch myself in the face like Six Underground did.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like there were a couple of times when my girlfriend walked in while I was watching this, and she was totally judging me for laughing at it. Yeah, like sure. Six Underground, whenever she walked in, it was just me bored, just sitting there going, okay, so there's a guy on he's got a skateboard now, has he?
Any other comments? Any other thoughts?
I'll tell you what, I'll go through my notes, because I have made notes on both of these. Let's see. Yeah,
I made loads of notes on the first one, but this one kind of like hit me like a freight train. I was kind of like, when it started happening, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let this wash over me a little bit.
Yeah, I think the only notes I've really got are about all the weird sort of plot holes in the second half. Yeah, because the bit where, like, that's the thing, when they called the hospital, and instead of getting put through to the doctor or the surgeon, they get put through to the patient. That's just really weird bits where I was like, is this how this works? If you're watching a film about someone getting cut off, it's going to be quite one note, isn't it? And it's either going to be about whether that joke works or doesn't in this context.
Yeah, I'm struggling to imagine a masterpiece written about this particular subject, but you know, I suppose it's possible, technically possible.
Yeah, like if they ever make it, I'm watching it, put it that way.
Well, maybe we need to watch every film about this subject just in case, just to compare them, getting a ranking system.
The Wayne Bobbitt experience.
Yeah, make a whole YouTube channel just about films about this subject. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please press those like and subscribe buttons if you did.